Welcome to Anxiety Solutions by Mary Lapp of simpleandmary.com. This is by no means an exhaustive list of anxiety solutions, but I am merely sharing what I have found helpful. The information presented today is not intended for the use of diagnosing or treating any disease or illness. It is not to be considered for a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. This is to be used for educational purposes only and to aid you in your search for health. Anxiety solutions. What is anxiety and how does it relate to brain health? What are some causes for anxiety and what are some anxiety solutions? These are all things we're going to cover in the following slides. What is anxiety? Anxiety is an unpleasant state of inner turmoil, often accompanied by nervous behavior. Anxiety is a feeling of fear, worry, and uneasiness, usually generalized and unfocused as an overreaction to a situation. It is accompanied by muscular tension, restlessness, fatigue, and problems in concentration. Anxiety can be appropriate, but when it is too often and for too long, it can become a disorder. There are several types of anxiety. There's generalized anxiety disorder, which is a persistent, excessive, and unrealistic worry, tension, and anxiety about everyday things. There's social anxiety, which is anxiety in or about certain social situations. There's specific phobias, irrational fears about specific, usually harmless things. Obsessive compulsive disorder, which is a ritualistic behavior that eases anxiety. Post-traumatic stress disorder, and anxiety as a result of a life-threatening event that happened. The anxiety-brain connection. Anxiety is a stress response. Anxiety starts in the brain but can have a physical effect on your body. The solutions we talk about may be helpful to support any type of anxiety, really. We're going to concentrate a lot on easing our stress response and just supporting our brain for our bodies to be able to handle the stress and anxiety. Anxiety support. So the subjects we're going to be talking about within the realm of diet are digestive health, food allergies, balanced blood sugar, calming inflammation, and reducing toxic exposure. For lifestyle support, we're going to talk about adequate sleep, movement, sunshine, something called earthing, hydration, emotional health, which consists of deep breathing, tapping or emotional freedom technique, and essential oils. So how do we fix it? We're going to talk about improving digestion. What does digestion have to do with anxiety? Good question. The answer is everything. Have you ever heard bad news and immediately you became nauseated? Or you ate something really sugary and immediately got brain fog and wanted a nap? The brain and the gut are highly connected in both directions. There is a nerve, called the vagus nerve, that connects the brain and the gut. This vagus nerve is also in charge of our parasympathetic function, or our rest and digest mode. We must be in rest and digest mode in order to digest our food properly. This is one of the biggest digestive problems of our day. We eat when we are stressed, rushed, or distracted. For many different reasons, our vagus nerve can become impaired and our gut and brain can't communicate properly. We also can't digest properly, can't relax properly, and are easily stressed. As far as improving digestion, it's so important to rest and digest when we eat, and stress management in general. Take a few deep breaths before a meal and eat with gratefulness. And actually, I would just say live with gratefulness. Really try to ingrain that in your person, in your emotions. Gargling exercises can actually be very helpful for stimulating the vagus nerve and healing that connection. It sounds kind of strange, but you need to gargle, and not just a little bit, but to the point that your eyes start to tear. Evidently, there's some connection with your eyes tearing too. Um, and it's not particularly fun and exciting, but hey, if we can help things out this way, why not? As far as digestive support, stimulate digestion with digestive bitters, or use a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, as in raw apple cider vinegar, in a few ounces of water right before a meal. Probiotic rich food like raw sauerkraut, low sugar quality uh, full fat grass fed yogurt, which is hard to come by, kefir, kombucha, etc. Those are all very good for digestion. Handling food allergies and sensitivities. This kind of goes along with digestion because when you are not digesting properly, you tend to have more allergies and sensitivities. There's a lot of things you can do about this. You can just do allergy testing. There's an MRT blood test that's really good. I highly recommend. The big allergens are gluten, dairy, eggs, soy, nuts, seeds, nightshades. But there's lots more, and that's why sometimes just taking the test can be helpful. You can do an elimination diet, which you take out all the big allergens for 30 days and then reintroduce them just one at a time. And that's the hard part because we tend to miss certain foods and want to just do it all at once, but then you don't really know which food was the offender. Um, a rotation diet can be helpful if you rotate your food on a 4-day cycle. So you would like eat chicken, carrots, and broccoli, etc. on day one, but then don't eat it again until day 5. So you just rotate your foods, and then you can say, well, hey, I felt really good on this day, but I felt horrible on this day, and you can kind of pinpoint what's going on where. That can be especially helpful because when we eat a food that we're allergic or sensitive to, we have an inflammatory response. And that inflammatory response can make the blood-brain barrier open, and we can get some brain inflammation, which is not helpful for anxiety or any kind of emotional help. Balanced blood sugar. So, sugar, what does that have to do with anxiety? Blood sugar regulation is one of the most important things you can do for your health. Your body's blood sugar is highly regulated and must be steady or else you will die, which is why diabetes is so dangerous. Essentially, when our body has sugar imbalances, we go into a stress response. That stress can really feel a lot like anxiety. Unbalanced sugar can have a negative effect on your brain and your body's systemic inflammation. And it's really so worth the effort to balance your blood sugar. So there's a lot of different ways and things to help with your blood sugar, but just for the basics, include natural sweeteners, not refined sweeteners, like use honey, real maple syrup, or Rapadura. Try to keep your sweets homemade, and it's kind of hard to find sweets with those natural sweeteners. So when you make them yourself, first off, it takes some effort, so it's not just so easy to go crazy. Um, and another thing is that those sweeteners are more expensive, so your wallet might hold you back a little bit too, which is actually a good thing to not go too crazy even with the natural sweeteners. Um, the best carbohydrates are your root veggies, your winter squash, fruit, plantains, even regular vegetables. Those are all wonderful sources of carbohydrates. Um, and it's good to eat your carbohydrates with good fat and protein. These have a tendency to just slow down the sugar response, and it'll help you absorb them. Avoid refined sweeteners and refined grains. Avoid chemical calorie-free sweeteners. Stevia is okay for some, it's not okay for everyone. And a good way to check is to actually buy a glucometer and take your blood sugar before and after the stevia and see. And even before and after honey and maple syrup and rapadura. The other calorie-free sweeteners I just never recommend because they're so toxic. High Avoid high quantities of starchy or sweet food. I'm not saying you can't have any. I'm just saying anytime you have an unbalanced high quantity of it, you're going to upset your blood sugar balance. Calming inflammation. What is inflammation? Inflammation is anything hot, red, itchy, or swelling, or anything that we would call inflamed. Inflammation in our brain can cause anxiety and lots more other issues. How to help it? Turmeric is a wonderful um, herb that has curcumin in it, which can boost memory and stimulate new cells. We have a tea that we like to make. It's called anti-inflammatory turmeric tea, and this is the web address to that recipe. You can either write it down or just Google little fig and anti-inflammatory turmeric tea, and you'll be able to find it no problem. Avoiding especially inflammatory foods like gluten, processed oils, and any processed foods in general are very inflammatory. So if you can avoid those, that will help. Reduce toxic exposure. Um, Toxins can be highly inflammatory. This kind of fits under that aspect of it. There's sweat therapy, finding good saunas to go to, or even just exercising to get your body sweating. This is a very detoxifying process. Dry brushing helps your lymph flow. Our lymph does not have a pump like our heart does. Like our heart works for our blood flow. So this is just brushing your body with a special brush in the direction of your heart. So you start at your hands and go down your arms toward your body. I would say Google dry brushing and see what they say. There's lots of good information on the internet. Tapping is a very good um, emotional and physical toxin releasing procedure. We will have more information on that in a further slide. Essential oils, again, in a further slide. And eating organic produce, preferably local, which isn't always possible, but the best you can do is great. Just helps you to not be exposed to so many toxins. Definitely avoid chemical cleaners. Essential oils can help out with that. So can vinegar and baking soda and some of those wonderful things. Avoid chemical body products. Essential oils can help with that too. We'll go over that more later. And avoid food additives, MSG, artificial sweeteners, colors and dyes, and preservatives. These can all have such a miserable effect on the brain and brain health. I would just highly recommend avoiding those. Adequate sleep. Sleep is so important for any kind of stress or anxiety. I think we all know how much better we feel after a really good night's sleep. So practice good sleep hygiene, and that is keeping your room dark, keeping your room cool, keep your phone off and away. Don't put your phone in your room. I mean, some people have to, but really try to not have it right by your head there. Keep all electric things out as much as possible. No screens before bed. The blue light of screens just keeps our body from producing the melatonin that we need. So if you do need to be in front of a screen, I would wear amber glasses. It just kind of numbs the blue light. Give yourself enough time to get enough sleep. Sometimes we go to bed too late or have to wake up too early, and some of that can be out of your control, but do your best. Electromagnetic waves can be very disturbing to sleep, so I find it a great practice to turn off your internet at night. Just turn it off, like unplug it completely. This will keep you going to bed earlier. It'll keep you from checking your phone in the middle of the night if you want to see what's going on Facebook. It'll keep your kids off the internet at night and make them go to bed earlier, it's a really great practice to get into. And I actually find it really does help you sleep. Movement. Movement is so important for circulation, and your brain needs circulation to work properly. Plus, movement is a stress release. I just recommend to keep moving. Have a walking desk, or if you do have to sit at a desk, stand up and move around regularly. Cleaning is great exercise. Yard work, raking and mowing, going for walks, working in your garden, jumping on a trampoline, yoga, stretching, any upside down poses are really good to get blood to your brain, actually. And then there's any other kind of further exercise that you want to do as far as what's safe for you, whether running or cycling or anything like that. I would just say more is not always better. It's everyone has kind of their happy exercise abilities. So judge from your, as far as healing your brain, judge from your recovery. If you feel good after you exercise, great. A little sore, no problem. But if you need to go take a nap or if you feel foggy headed and miserable after you exercise, I would tone it down a little bit until you heal and then work your way back up. Exercise is definitely important. Too little can be just as negative. We need to keep moving to have that movement, but just there's a ditch on both sides of the road. Sunshine. I think we all know that we need sunshine. We need it for vitamin D, and just sunshine can make us so happy. I highly recommend getting good sunshine every day. Not so much that you get a horrible sunburn, just enough to keep your body happy. Earthing. Earthing is something that happens when you walk barefoot on the earth. The earth has an electrical charge, and when you walk barefoot on it, you pick up some of that electrical charge and let out some of your electrical charge, and it can actually be a really big stress release. I think we all kind of know that deep down, that when you go barefoot, it just, especially connecting with nature, you just can take a big sigh of relief and enjoy and feel so much better. So just try it, see how it feels. Don't do it while you mow the lawn and don't do it right after the first snow, but just try to keep that practice going in your life. Hydration. Drink water, especially upon rising. I like to recommend people drink 2 to 4 cups of water before they do anything, before they have coffee, before um, they go on with their day. It's our body has been detoxifying all night long. We have not been eating or drinking, and your body could use a good little flush to get all the toxins out. Make sure it's pure and good water. Some water is not going to be as helpful, so just make sure that your water's clean. Deep breathing. This is a wonderful thing for emotional support. And I am very fond of Dr. Andrew Weil's breathing method. Um, it's breathe into the count of 4, hold to the count of 7, breathe out to the count of 8, and do that 4 times. It will probably bring your anxiety levels down at least a couple points. I like to recommend doing it twice per day, or if you find yourself in a stress response, just do it. Nobody knows you're doing it. Once you get into the habit of it, it's really not that hard. It doesn't take very long. It really takes less than a minute. And just one caution, if you get dizzy doing this kind of thing, do it while you're lying down or work up to it. It doesn't make me dizzy, it's fine, but some people it does, and I don't want you falling over. So just be careful. Emotional freedom technique. It's a system of tapping on reflex points and on the body to relieve emotional stress. We pretty much hold emotions in particular spots on our body, And when we tap on them, especially with the intention of healing and accepting our body and our mind and ourselves, it can be very effective, especially for particularly negative emotional events that you want to move past. I am not a specialist in this subject, but it's very, very easy to do. Anyone can do it. It doesn't take very long. And I recommend you going to Dr. Mercola's site for emotional freedom technique. He's done a lot of work on just giving instructions on how to do it. And this is good, especially for post-traumatic stress syndrome. It can't hurt to give it a try. And this will very likely, it takes persistence, but it can really bring your stress and anxiety levels down. Essential oils are wonderful for emotional support. The sense of smell is particularly sensitive and effective for emotional support. Essential oils can support a sense of calmness, courage, and joy. Essential oils are fat soluble and they penetrate the skin easily, which helps them support organ function. Uh, our bodies, our cells have a cellular membrane that's made of fat, all of our cells pretty much. And so because the oils are fat soluble, they just go right through and absorb so easily. They must be used safely. Please see www.simpleandmary.com, that's my blog, for more information on how to use essential oils safely. Thank you so much. Please go to simpleandmary.com for more information on working with me to improve your health. You can see services. Participating in one of my classes. I have lots of classes. Usually they include information like this with on different subjects and on different foundational support aspects. Um, you can also find more information on brain health, essential oils, and allergy-free recipes. That's all free. The classes aren't always, but the information is. Um, and I gathered information today from the Nutritional Therapy Association program that I went to, from Wikipedia, and the Anti-Anxiety Food Solution by Trudy Scott, and Why Isn't My Brain Working by Datis Karazian, both of which I really do recommend. They're wonderful books. So thank you so much.